Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'd like to talk about an interesting topic, which is New Year's resolution. Specifically, I'd like to convince you that a great New Year's resolution to have is to adopt a growth mindset. And the reason for that, or rather, what inspired me to come up with this particular New Year's resolution, is because when I was speaking with a couple of friends, they were sharing that they did not know what type of New Year's resolution to have. In particular, or rather, in other words, they don't even know what type of goals they should set. And I think that when you don't know what goals to set, waiting around is not going to do you any good. So I would like to suggest a versatile, universal, and beneficial tool that you could strive to adopt as a New Year's resolution. And that is adopting a growth mindset. And before I share further, I'd like to credit Dr. Cal Dweck as well as Dr. Andrew Huberman, because a lot of what I'll share, I learned from them either from their books or from their podcast episodes, speeches, and lectures, and so forth. Now, before we get into the definition of a growth mindset, I think it's really important to first understand what the definition of a mindset is. And if we go to the APA, American Psychological Association, and look into the definition of mindset, it is very convoluted and long, but it's something along the lines of our state of mind affecting our physical state, our behaviors, our con- cognition, and affects our goal directed behavior. But I think Dr. Andrew Huberman summarizes what the definition of a mindset is very well, which is that our mindset is how our mind organizes information. And the key word he stresses is organizes. And I think that's a really succinct and great definition that is applicable across different contexts, because when we think about mindset all the time, every time, we can then think of the word organizing. So when a piece of information is presented to us, be it in a sensory form, audio form, tactile form, how does our mind organize that piece of information? Because that will affect how we then react emotionally and behaviorally. Now, having defined what a mindset is, how we organize information, we look into the definition of a growth mindset. And according to Dr. Carol Dweck, a growth mindset is the belief that you can improve. And implicit in this definition is that we should think in terms of verbs rather than nouns. For example, if you think in terms of I'm talented, I'm smart, I'm stupid, I'm intelligent, then you're ascribing to yourself labels, qualities, and nouns. And these nouns suggest a sense of permanence that you're not able to change anymore because this is the label that you're ascribed to. On the other hand, if you think in terms of verbs, for example, I'm putting a lot of effort in ensuring that I confirm this sales deal. I'm spending a lot of time in how I craft my emails to ensure that I am able to increase the rate of replies. You focus on actions, and rather than establishing permanence, you convey a sense of progression. You're suggesting that these are the things that you are doing, and you are able to progress from there. And that is, I believe, what Dr. Carol Dweck means when she suggests that a growth mindset is the belief that you can improve, because it focuses and it places emphasis on your actions rather than ascribing to yourself or others a quality, permanent quality, which it will be reflective of a fixed mindset that you're not able to change because you belong to this category or you characterize this noun that you have been ascribed to. And with that, I also like to share an interesting research finding that I believe is done by Dr. Carol Dweck and her colleagues. And it looks into praising. So they have one group of children who would be praised in terms of nouns. For example, they would do well and it would be you're so intelligent, you're smart, you're talented, and so forth. There will be another group of students who will be praised in terms of verbs. For example, when you do well, I can see that you're persistent in the face of hardships. You spend 10 extra minutes thinking about the math problem that you struggle to solve. Or I can see that you put in 2 extra hours of revision when you found the subject to be difficult. And I think that's good. You should continue doing that. And another group of students who were the control group, meaning they did not receive any praises whatsoever. And the outcome was very interesting because the students who received the verb based praises were able to enhance their performance, and they also moved on to take on greater challenges when they had the opportunity. On the other hand, children who received the noun based praises had a dip in their performance, and they showed that they were no longer, or rather, they showed that they were less willing to take on challenges. And the explanation for that is somewhere along the lines of the noun based students believing that they would receive praises and they would feel valued only when they show that they're talented. Not that they're talented, but when they show that they're talented. So, how you show that you're talented, smart, intelligent, and so forth is essentially when you take on a challenge that is too small and that you're able to tackle with ease. On the other hand, if you take on any challenges that forces you to appear a little less competent because the challenge is slightly beyond you, you're not showing that you're talented. You're showing that you have to try hard. And if you're talented, you shouldn't have to try hard. So the noun-based students, the students who receive noun-based praises internalize the idea that they have to show that they're talented in order to receive praises and feel valued by those around them. The students who were in the control group, who did not receive any praises, did not show any changes as far as performance is concerned and their willingness to take up challenges. And I think the lesson for us from that research finding is to pay attention to how we talk to ourselves. There's a concept that I read from sports psychology called self talk, and it refers to how we talk to ourselves. And there are various types of self talks, like organic self talk. I believe there's one particular term that I can't remember right now, but it refers to how you organic self talk is how you talk to yourself on a natural basis without any intervention. And there are different types of self talks when where interventions are concerned. But anyhow, I like to share about self talk because we talk to ourselves on a continual basis. In fact, the voice that we hear the most on a daily basis is our own voice because we are providing feedback to ourselves every single day. When you wake up, for example, and you feel groggy, that is a piece of feedback you begin to provide to yourself. When you feel tired and you tell yourself, hey, I'm kind of feeling tired now, my eyelids feel kind of heavy, that is, again, a piece of feedback that you provide yourself with. And when we take up challenges and when we are in the process of solving problems, we are also consistently providing ourselves with feedback. So, based on what we have learned from Dr. Carol Dweck's study, I think it's helpful to start thinking in terms of verbs rather than nouns. So, when you do well, for example, instead of thinking I'm intelligent, you want to think in terms of, hey, I did well today because I put in extra effort in taking care of my work. I did well today because I put in extra effort to ensure that I understand the pain points of the clients by asking more questions. Or when you do badly, instead of thinking I'm stupid, you would think, hey, I did not close the sale today because I realized that I did not pay enough attention to the pain point of the client. I talked too much rather than ask questions when I was interacting with the clients. Maybe I was insufficiently friendly to the client when I'm speaking with them, and that led to that contributed to me not being able to close the sale or improving our relations. Because when we think in terms of verbs, the underlying belief is that we can always do better because we can always change our actions. Whereas if we think in terms of nouns, we are ascribing to ourselves permanent qualities, suggesting that we're not able to change, which conveys that we're not able to improve. And if we think about it, it's interesting because this also suggests that thinking in terms of a growth mindset could contribute to positive thinking. Because when you think in terms of a growth mindset, you're more likely to take up challenges. You're more likely to be willing to take up challenges because you know that you can change your actions. And even when you face failures, you're able to bounce back by focusing more on your actions and thinking about how you can improve. Now, you might not immediately succeed the next time you take up the challenge, but at least your mind will be in the right place because you'll be evaluating yourselves more objectively rather than devolving into self pity and an emotional outcry. And if you're able to improve your performance, I think it's not a bad assumption to make, although there are no scientific studies to back this up, that you're also able to control your mindset and therefore think more positively. Because by focusing on your actions, you're likely to feel more empowered. You're thinking in a more solution oriented manner, thinking about what you could do better, thinking about what you have missed out that you could have done, rather than thinking that you're not talented, you're not smart, you're stupid, and so forth. And I think thus far, I've shown that the benefits of adopting a growth mindset are pretty endless. Not only do you think in terms of actions, you make yourself feel more empowered, you become more solution oriented, which suggests that you're going to be more objective when you need to. You put yourself further away from the risk of delving into self pity and any sort of emotional instability. And I think for 2025, if you do not know what goal to adopt, then adopting a growth mindset that is thinking in terms of verbs rather than nouns is a good place to start. And I like to think as well that the more you focus on your actions, the more you're able to improve because you save yourself a lot of time. And I like to think that we do generally spend a lot of time thinking negatively unless your level of neuroticism is so low that you're super adaptive and functional as a human being. I mean, from my own experience, I have had experiences where I spend more time than I need to dwelling on negative emotions and not being solution oriented. So, adopting the growth mindset, thinking in terms of verbs rather than permanent qualities, labels, and nouns, I think is a good resolution to have for 2025. And I also believe that by focusing more on your actions, your pathway forward will be clearer because you focus more on your actions, thinking about how you can improve every single day. Your what should be your long-term goal in the long term will eventually be more clear to you because I think that by putting more effort into action rather than spending time on inaction, you take steps forward. And taking steps forward allows you to have a clearer vision as you move forward. Because the more steps you take forward, the more lessons you learn. And the more lessons you learn, the more knowledgeable that you become. And that is all on growth mindset. It is not an extremely comprehensive analysis of what a growth mindset is. I did not delve into as many scientific research findings as individuals like Dr. Andrew Huberman usually would in his videos. Please absolutely check out his videos. He is really a role model, very knowledgeable and very fluent in the way that he presents information. But I think that this video could be helpful to people who do not know what goals to set or what resolution to have for 2025. And I hope that you found it helpful. Please do subscribe to my channel, hit on the bell button, do share and leave a comment to boost the algorithm. And until next time, I will see you. Happy New Year.